In 1975, I went to Detroit to pick up a body for another guy out of West Virginia, and this car was sitting there. And I seen it in, and I asked him what he was going to do with it. And he said he was going to junk it. I guess he was kidding. He said, we can't sell it, we're going to junk it. And so then, 1976 or 77, Don Carlton got killed in an accident. And the guy that his mechanic, Clyde Hodges, seen a friend of mine at Piedmont and told him that he had the car that I wanted, the Colt. So I called him and went down there to see it, and that's the same car. So we bought it. And I went back 2 weeks later and took a motor and stuff, put the thing in and brought it back. The day Elvis Presley died is the day I was coming up 40 down below Greensboro with the car on the back of the truck. You know, I'll never forget that. We bought the motor, mostly all the parts from Richard Petty, and I built the motor myself. And we bought 9 motors from Petty, and I guess in 9 years we run the car.
The highest levels of the company at that point essentially called down and said, what would it take to win Daytona Beach NASCAR race in February of 1964? So a group of us were gathered together by the engineering vice president, and we said, hey, man, if you want to do it, do you really want to do it? We've got the most experience with the Hemi head, including the infamous A311 Indianapolis program, and we know what to do.
That engine is the legendary 426 Hemi. It helped Richard Petty lap the field and win the 1964 Daytona 500. When NASCAR wouldn't let the 426 Hemi on the track for 1965, Tom Hoover took it to the drag strip. It's still there today.
But we'd go down there, when we'd get done racing on a circle track, he'd sell us the parts. And that's where 90% of the parts come from Richard Petty. That's where it come from. We got to go down there and sit around and talk and have a good time. All of it was, just carrying on all the time. But I never will forget none of the stuff we done then, because that Belcher was running pretty good too. Well, we got it running in 78. In the second race we went to Concord, North Carolina, and won the race. And that was the first time, and we won 3 national events. I don't know how many WTS meets we won, but was number 2 in the championship for 3 years in a row. But I never could get that one. If we hadn't had a wreck going to one of them, all we had to do was qualify and make the first round, and we'd have won the championship. That's how close we got. And it wasn't supposed to be a record. So we ended up second 3 years in a row. In 2002, they inducted in the Hall of Fame at Henderson, North Carolina. And then it was 5 of us there. And then in 2013, we was inducted in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we did now, and all our pictures and all our stuff is in Mooresville, North Carolina, in the Hall of Fame down there with NASCAR people. I met Mike about 35, 40 years ago now. And he had a guy driving his car out Cloverdale, and he wanted to know if I'd run it for him. And I did. I took it and run it, and we raced it. And we stayed together for almost 30 years racing. That's all we did was race in 30 years. And we bought a couple cars together. And he went to service. When he come back out of service, he had got both legs blown off. And I stayed with him the rest of the time when we raced. He never did ride in a race car, never. He kept it clean, worked on it all the time. Always joking about different things, but we was friends for a long time.
When you say the name Tom Hoover, you have to realize he has had a greater impact on the company's motorsports than any other person I can think of. Tom was a developmental engineer, he was a racer, he was a brilliant motorsports mind, he was A to Z in one package.